In this section, we are going to be taking a deep dive into follow-up prompting, one of the most important aspects of ChatGPT. And once you understand all aspects of follow-up prompting, your ChatGPT prompts and responses will be much, much better. So let's dive into what is follow-up prompting. Follow-up prompting is the practice of asking additional questions or seeking further clarification after an initial response has been given. It's like the art of keeping a conversation going, ensuring the dialogue continues to evolve, delve deeper, or move in a desired direction. So follow-up prompting is going to help further your understanding. It's going to expand your knowledge and also help you analyze certain questions or problems that you're dealing with in ChatGPT. And that's one of the most powerful things about ChatGPT is that it doesn't stop after just one question. You can keep on going down the thread. ChatGPT does not have emotions, so you can ask it as many questions about as many topics as you would like. Now here is a quick example of a follow-up prompt. So as you can see here, I asked, what's comedy? It gave me the definition of what comedy was. A follow-up question in order to expand my knowledge on what comedy is what are different styles of comedy? Then it started to go into the different styles of comedy. So that is kind of a very basic follow-up prompt at a foundational level. And this was all happening in the same thread. So I asked it, what is comedy? It gave me information, and then I asked it more questions about that information. Now this is great, but how do we know what follow-up prompts to use? Well, I've created 3 categories of follow-up prompts that I find most important and most useful that everyone is using without even knowing it. So let's dive into those 3 types of follow-up prompts. We have analyzing follow-up prompts, we have understanding follow-up prompts, and we have expanding follow-up prompts. So each one of these has its own category of follow-up prompts. You can use follow-up prompts to analyze a question or problem. You can use follow-up prompts to understand something, or you can use follow-up prompts to expand your knowledge on a certain topic or subject. So usually each follow-up question you ask ChatGPT will fall into one of these categories, and I think it's important to understand what category it's coming from so you know what follow-up prompt to ask ChatGPT. So let me briefly touch on each one of these follow-up prompt topics and what they kind of mean. We are going to go further in depth on these in future modules. I just wanted to do a quick overview of each one of these sections here. So what are analyzing follow-ups? This category ensures that you get a thorough understanding of the topic. So after you send off your initial response, some questions that might follow that fall in the analyzing category are, how does that compare to X? So maybe you want to compare the knowledge that you just generated from ChatGPT to another subject or another set of data. Another example of an analyzing follow-up prompt might be, is there a counter argument? So that kind of helps you analyze your initial argument or your initial answer that ChatGPT generates. And this will help kind of balance things out. Also, it might help mitigate ethical considerations when using ChatGPT, so you're not so one-sided. So asking, is there a counter argument, would be a very good follow-up prompt in the analyzing category. Let's take a look at the next category, the understanding follow-up prompts. This category helps in making complex subjects more accessible. So when you're using an understanding type follow-up prompt, it's going to help break down some of that jargon, summarize that lengthy content, and reframe information in more familiar and simpler terms. Some understanding follow-up prompt examples would be, how would you explain this to a child? This is one of my favorites in understanding complex information. Once I get those childlike analogies in my head, I can kind of connect it to the more complex subjects very nicely. So this is a follow-up prompt I am using all of the time. Another one, who should care about this? This will kind of find that target audience or that specific group of people that might care about your generated knowledge. And this can help with advertising. This can help with your audience that you're speaking to, your demographic, whatever it may be. This is a good example of an understanding follow-up prompt in order to further understand who this knowledge is for. And again, these are just a couple of examples. We are going to dive deeper into each category in future modules. The next category, expanding follow-ups. This is going to push the boundaries of your initial topic, encouraging the exploration of related subjects, trends, and real-world applications. So these follow-up prompts are going to be the type of prompts that help you understand and further expand your knowledge of the subject. It's going to help broaden your horizon a little bit. Some examples of expanding type follow-up prompts would be, what are some related industries or fields? And what are some variations of this? So maybe you're doing an email sequence, for example, and you ask ChatGPT, create me an email sequence for my web design clients. Maybe you're trying to sell websites to a specific niche, and then it gives you one email sequence. What you could do in order to expand on that is to say, what are some variations of this? So you're not just stuck with that one email sequence, but you're asking a follow-up prompt in order to expand or broaden your horizon and give you more email sequences. This would be an example of a useful follow-up prompt. This has been a brief explanation of follow-up prompting in ChatGPT and kind of understanding the importance and the power that it has when talking and communicating with this chatbot. Now, these are just the ways that I like to categorize my follow-up prompts. I'm sure that there are many other people that don't even think of this or that categorize them in different ways, but I found that this is the most effective way for me to categorize these and remember them. And I think it's also kind of nice just understanding the three parts where follow-up prompts can help me. It can help me analyze my information, it can help me understand my information, and it can also help me expand on the information as well. So I hope that this introduction to follow-up prompting was helpful. Congratulations on finishing it, and I am super excited to dive into those three categories even deeper so you can learn all about follow-up prompting and the power of it using ChatGPT. I'll see you in the next module.